Imagine hiring a new personal assistant, right? And on day one, they just sit in on a live phone call and flawlessly translate this super complex conversation into fluent Japanese in real time.
Oh, wow. That's a strong start.
Right, and they anticipate your schedule, they pull your flight details, and they have them ready in a text draft before you even ask for them.
Okay, so a hyper-competent assistant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then later that same afternoon, you ask them to just, look at a video game icon on your computer monitor, and they confidently assure you that it's a photograph of a desert landscape.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, and if you ask them to draw a picture of a smartphone, they literally hand you a sketch of a competitor's product.
Which is, that is the textbook definition of a high-variance performer, right?
Yeah.
You have these moments of just brilliant context awareness.
Yeah.
And they're entirely mixed with these sudden, baffling failures to interpret, basic reality.
Yeah, and today we are looking at a device that basically embodies that exact dynamic. We are diving into the newly released Google Pixel 10 Pro XL.
Yeah, which just hit the market on August 28th, 2025.
Yep. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We have got a massive stack of sources to go through for you today. We're pulling from Google's own launch blog, obviously, some deep dive technical reviews from CNET and Thurrott, plus a really cool hands-on physical teardown from Android Authority.
Right, and we've also got the specs and hardware analysis from Android Headlines, ZDNet, and Wikipedia just to round it all out.
Yeah, it's a very comprehensive look at what is quickly becoming, I'd say, the most debated device of the year.
Oh, absolutely. The debates are everywhere.
So our mission today is to cut through all that marketing jargon. We want to figure out if the Pixel 10 Pro XL is, genuinely the most quote-unquote helpful phone ever made, or if it's just this ambitious AI experiment that still needs training wheels.
Yeah, that's the big question.
Right. So whether you're due for an upgrade right now, or maybe you're studying where mobile tech is heading, or you're just, curious about how AI is reshaping the devices we carry in our pockets every day, this deep dive is going to give you the ultimate cheat sheet.
Definitely. And, to really understand the digital brain of this phone, I think we first need to look at the physical vessel carrying it. Because the hardware choices Google made here, they really set the stage for everything the software is trying to accomplish later.
Yeah, for sure. Let's start with the physical shell. The dimensions are, they're substantial. You're looking at a 6.8-inch display.
Which is huge.
Yeah, massive screen. And it hits a peak brightness of 3,300 nits. And it weighs in at about 8.2 ounces.
So it's a beefy phone.
It really is. And Google kept that distinctive floating camera bar design that we've seen evolving over the last few iterations, and they paired it with a nice matte back. The color options this time around are obsidian, porcelain, moonstone, and jade, which the jade actually features this really sleek gold trim along the rails.
Oh, that sounds nice. But, the visual design is pretty iterative. The mechanical design, though, that includes a major shift for the actual user experience. Google introduced a feature they are officially calling Pixel Snap.
Right, Pixel Snap, which relies on the T2.2 wireless charging standard, capable of up to 25 watts. It basically brings MagSafe style, magnetic peripheral compatibility natively into the Pixel ecosystem.
Finally.
I know. It kind of feels like Google finally learned the secret handshake to the magnetic accessories club.
That's a great way to put it. And the mechanism behind that is actually crucial. The Qi 2 standard utilizes a ring of magnets to perfectly align the charging coils between the phone and the charger itself.
Which matters a lot, right?
It matters so much. Because when coils aren't perfectly aligned, a massive amount of that charging energy is just lost as heat.
Oh, right.
And heat degrades the battery over time. So by incorporating Pixel Snap, the phone ensures optimal alignment every single time, which really reduces thermal stress.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and as Thurrott pointed out in their review, the sheer utility of just being able to snap on a wallet or a mini tripod, it totally transforms how you physically handle the device.
Absolutely. And that focus on hardware longevity, it extends to what's happening inside the case, too. Because Android Authority covered the jerry-rig everything teardown of this phone. Yeah. And it reveals a design philosophy that we have largely been told is just impossible for flagship devices.
Yeah, this was wild to read.
Right. Google actually provides a free 234-page repair manual for the 10 Pro XL.
A full manual. And the teardown shows a device that is genuinely engineered for accessibility. The display unplugs using standard connectors. The teardown literally described it as fitting together like Lego pieces.
Legos in a smartphone?
I know. But even more striking, is the battery. It's a 5,200 milliamp hour battery, and it utilizes a simple green pull tab.
Okay, wait. Let's just pause on that pull tab for a second.
Okay.
Because, the industry spent the better part of a decade convincing consumers that smartphones had to be impossibly glued together to achieve, water resistance.
Right, exactly.
We were explicitly told that consumer repairability was just the price of progress. And now here we are in 2025, and Google's revolutionary solution to device longevity is a mechanical pull tab.
Yeah, you just pull it, and the battery is released from the chassis. No heat guns, no messy chemical solvents required. It really highlights a massive shift in engineering priorities.
How so?
Well, previously the goal was absolute thinness, right? Manufacturers used industrial adhesives because screws and mechanical brackets, they take up millimeter fractions of space. What Google did here is engineer these internal gaskets and mechanical fasteners that maintain IP68 water resistance while still allowing manual disassembly.
So they just figured out a better way to seal it.
Essentially, yeah. And the reason they have to do this ties directly back to their software promises. Google guarantees 7 years of operating system and security updates for this phone.
Which is great, but a 7-year software promise is, entirely useless. The battery physically degrades after 3 years and requires a laser to remove it.
Precisely. You can't have one without the other. If we contrast this with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, which, by the way, reviewers noted is an absolute nightmare to repair, Google is really changing the expected life cycle of the phone.
Yeah, making it last.
By making genuine parts available through iFixit and actually simplifying the disassembly, they are aligning the physical hardware with that long-term software commitment.
Okay, so to survive a 7-year life cycle, the engine running this device needs massive computational overhead because beneath that easily removable battery is the new Tensor G5 engine.
Yep, the brains of the operation.
Exactly. This is a 3-nanometer chip manufactured by TSMC, and it's paired with 16 gigabytes of RAM and an Exynos 5400 modem.
So those specifications, they require a bit of translation to really understand their impact. The shift to a 3-nanometer process by TSMC is a major upgrade.
Because smaller is better here.
Right. The nanometer metric essentially refers to the size of the transistors on the chip. When transistors are that incredibly small, you can pack billions more of them into the exact same physical space. This means electrons are traveling shorter distances to complete a calculation.
And shorter distance means less power required, which, translates to less heat generated and significantly less battery drain during intensive tasks.
Exactly. It creates a highly efficient architecture. And then you had the Exynos 5400 modem.
Right.
Historically, if you look back, some previous Pixel generations really struggled with fundamental connectivity, like dropped calls or weak cellular signals.
Yeah, that was a huge complaint for a while.
The modem is the component responsible for maintaining your connection to cell towers and handling satellite connectivity. So integrating the 5400 is meant to solve the absolute core job of the device being a reliable phone.
Right, doing phone things. But the 16 gigabytes of RAM is what really points to the phone's primary mission. Because if you are, say, a professional mobile gamer looking for the highest possible frame rates, the benchmark tests show that Tensor G5 might not actually beat the absolute top-tier Apple or Qualcomm chips.
Yeah, it's not a gaming powerhouse in that traditional sense.
The RAM isn't there for gaming, it's there for on-device AI.
Bingo. Running a large language model locally requires a massive amount of active memory. The Tensor G5 features a reported 60% gain in neural processing unit performance.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah, it's a huge jump. And it's optimized specifically to run Google's Gemini Nano model entirely on the device, rather than, sending all your data up to the cloud to be processed.
Which is faster and more private.
Right. And this powers the new Android 16 interface, which ZDNet noted uses a new visual language called Material 3 Expressive. It focuses on unified colors and really natural movements, basically serving as this distinct, fluid state for all these new AI tools.
And man, the ambition of this AI suite is just staggering. You have Voice Translate, which processes live audio during a phone call and translates it locally without server lag.
That's huge for travel.
Then you have Gemini Live, which actually grants the AI spatial awareness of your screen and your camera feed.
Yeah.
And then there's Magic Queue.
Ah, Magic Queue.
Yeah, this one is designed to be highly proactive. Like if a friend texts you asking when your flight lands, Magic Queue is supposed to scan your Gmail, check your Google Calendar, and literally surface a formatted text with your flight details ready to send with one single tap.
And when the models fire correctly, the integration is seamless. Threads testing actually demonstrated how powerful Gemini Live can be in the real world.
Right, the speaker test.
Yeah. They pointed the camera at a portable speaker sitting on a desk. The AI didn't just return some generic audio device label. It actually analyzed the physical geometry and correctly identified it as a specific JBL Charge 5.
That is seriously impressive. And the Gboard keyboard integration is another practical success, I think. It allows for natural contextual voice editing.
Oh, I love this feature.
It's so cool. Instead of manually moving your cursor to fix a typo, you can just say, change Ruby to Ruby with an I, and the on-device model understands the instruction, locates the target word, and just executes the change.
It saves so much time.
And there's also Pixel Studio, an image generation tool powered by the Imagen 4 model. It uses diffusion technology to generate complex images, like Thurot mentioned a highly stylized Japanese ukiyo-e scene just from a simple text prompt.
So a diffusion model works by starting with a field of static noise and then progressively organizing the pixels until they match the patterns associated with your text prompt.
It's basically sculpting with pixels.
Yeah, exactly. But relying on these models introduces some really significant reliability issues. Because CNET ran rigorous stress tests on the AI, and their results expose some severe limitations in how these models actually interpret the real world.
Yeah, the CNET review details some truly baffling hallucinations. Like, they tested Gemini Live's screen awareness by just bringing up the icon for the PUBG mobile app.
Which is a very recognizable icon for a lot of people.
Right. The icon is literally an illustration of a man wearing a helmet set against a blue sky. But Gemini Live analyzed the screen and confidently told the reviewer they were looking at a desert scene.
And this happens because vision models don't see the way human eyes do, right?
Yeah.
They break down images into mathematical vectors and look for pattern matches.
Ah, okay.
So if the lighting or the color gradient or even the contrast of an icon triggers a vector path that's commonly associated with sand or sky in its training data, the model will output a completely erroneous conclusion, but it will do it with absolute certainty.
It doesn't know what it doesn't know.
Exactly.
And the training data issue really showed up in Pixel Studio as well, according to CNET.
Yeah.
Because when they asked the image generator to draw a Google Pixel phone, it just failed completely. It continually output drawings of iPhones.
Which is embarrassing for Google, honestly.
Yeah, definitely a bad look. But more critically, CNET discovered a pretty severe representation issue. During their testing, the original source material points out that unless the reviewer explicitly prompted the AI otherwise, Pixel Studio defaulted to generating images exclusively of white people.
Yeah. And, you know, we are strictly looking at the mechanics of the AI here. And the sources make clear this is a documented flaw of how diffusion models are trained. They are fed billions of images scraped from the internet.
Just a massive unfiltered data set.
Exactly. And if that training data contains an overwhelming volume of a specific demographic or, in the phone example, heavily features the silhouette of an iPhone when the word smartphone is used, the model simply adopts those biases.
Right.
It operates entirely as a mirror of its data set, complete with all the blind spots of that data. Now, Google has acknowledged this, and they stated they are working to evolve the tool, but the sources emphasize that the out-of-the-box experience has heavy limitations right now, which honestly brings up the utility of features like Magic Queue. If Magic Queue operates by scraping Gmail and Google Calendar to anticipate my needs, its usefulness is entirely dependent on my participation in that specific ecosystem.
Yeah, the Google ecosystem.
Exactly. And like personally, I rely almost entirely on WhatsApp and Instagram for communication and planning. Because Magic Queue cannot see inside those third-party encrypted apps, it basically becomes completely blind to my social life.
It's true.
So it makes you wonder, are these features actually designed to be universally helpful, or are they ecosystem traps meant to enforce reliance on Google's proprietary services?
I mean, that tension is absolutely central to the Pixel 10 Pro XL experience. The AI here is a tool of extremes. It can possess hyper-specific context to identify a SanDisk SSD sitting on your desk, but then completely fail at reading a 2D app icon on your screen.
It's wildly inconsistent.
It is. And it requires the user to basically abandon the whole idea of a smartphone as a passive tool.
Yeah, you essentially have to act as a co-pilot. You must continually fact-check the output and manage the permissions of what is, frankly, an erratic assistant.
Exactly the kind of vigilance required for daily tasks now. But the implications become much, much more complex when that high-variance AI takes control of the camera system.
Oh man, the camera. Here's where it gets really interesting. The camera hardware itself hasn't seen massive physical changes. The array still features a 50-megapixel main sensor, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 48-megapixel 5x telephoto lens.
For some standard flagship stuff.
Yeah, the actual glass and the light-gathering sensors are familiar territory.
Because the real shift is entirely in the software processing. Because of the Tensor G5's neural capabilities, Google introduced something called ProRes Zoom. Now, traditional digital zoom works by taking a small portion of an image and stretching the existing pixels to make it look larger.
Which inherently causes pixelation and blur, right?
It looks terrible. ProRes Zoom abandons that method entirely.
It uses generative AI to push all the way to 100x zoom. Instead of stretching pixels, the model looks at the blurry shapes captured at 100x, references its massive database of textures, and literally paints new pixels to fill in the missing details.
It's hallucinating the details, basically.
Right.
And the results can be astonishing in the right conditions. Thurrott tested it in daylight and found the generative approach actually surpassed the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra in long-distance clarity.
Wow.
CNET tested it on a distant statue in Edinburgh and found the AI synthetically generated the texture of the stone with shocking clarity.
But, and this is a big but, CNET also found that complex environments cause the AI to panic.
Yeah, it struggles.
When they took the phone into overcast conditions or low-light pubs in Scotland, the image processing became super overzealous. The photos looked harsh and, as CNET described it, quote, crunchy.
Crunchy is such a great descriptor. Low light inherently introduces digital noise, right? Random specks of color caused by the sensor just struggling to find light.
The graininess.
Yeah. The AI processing interprets that noise as missing physical detail, and it attempts to aggressively sharpen it. It boosts contrast unnaturally to force clarity where there genuinely is none.
It's trying too hard.
Way too hard.
Yeah.
CNET noted that bypassing the AI entirely by shooting in RAW format and editing the image manually resulted in much, much more natural photographs.
And the processing isn't limited to just sharpening environments either. It extends to human subjects. The device features auto best take.
Oh, this one is fascinating.
If you shoot a group photo where, one person is blinking and another is looking away, the camera analyzes several frames captured in the background. It extracts the best facial expressions from each person and seamlessly morphs them into a single composite image where everyone is smiling perfectly.
It is a mechanism designed to entirely eradicate the bad photo.
They are even applying this kind of processing to audio now. The Recorder app can now utilize AI to transform your spoken voice memos into musical tracks.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you can literally dictate a grocery list, select a quote-unquote rainy day vibe, and the phone generates a moody jazz track using the cadence of your voice.
I mean, the technical achievement of real-time audio and visual generation on a mobile processor, it's undeniable. It's incredibly impressive.
The tech is absolutely brilliant, but, and I keep coming back to this, it shifts the fundamental definition of the medium. If my phone is stitching together smiles from my family that never actually existed at the same millisecond,
right,
and generative zoom is painting in stone textures on a statue based on what an algorithm just assumes stone looks like, are we even capturing reality anymore? The phone has basically stopped being a lens.
That's a profound way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because a traditional camera lens is an objective tool. It just records the light reflecting off a physical object at a specific moment in time.
Yeah.
The Pixel 10 Pro XL, though, operates as an interpreter. Yeah. It takes raw data, feeds it through a neural network, and outputs a composite based on its training parameters for an ideal image. It completely shifts the output from a photograph to a generated memory.
And understanding that shift is really the ultimate takeaway for you listening today. The value proposition of this device is deep, but it's very complicated. The Pixel 10 Pro XL starts at $11,199.
Which is a premium price.
It is. That matches the base price of the iPhone 17 Pro Max.
However, Google does include 256 gigabytes of UFS 4.0 storage at that base tier.
What does that mean for the user?
Well, Universal Flash Storage 4.0 is essentially a high-speed solid-state drive for your phone. It basically doubles the data transfer speeds of previous generations, meaning those massive 50-megapixel RAW files save instantly, and the local AI models can fetch data without any lag.
So for that $1,199 price tag, you are securing a brilliantly designed, highly repairable piece of hardware with ultra-fast storage and a battery you can actually swap out yourself.
Which is rare these days.
Super rare. But the hardware is really just the delivery mechanism. You are buying a device that demands active management. You have to decide if the utility of Gemini Live identifying your electronics is worth the ecosystem lock-in of Magic Q scanning your emails.
Exactly.
You have to be willing to second-guess the model when it hallucinates a desert scene out of a video game icon.
You are entering a partnership with a proactive, constantly evolving system rather than just purchasing a static utility tool.
Which leaves us with one final kind of provocative thought to mull over. We've talked about the camera transitioning from an objective lens to a generative interpreter. Think about the legal and historical implications of that.
Oh, that's a big question.
Right. If our default devices are engineered to natively hallucinate zoom details to make them sharper, or automatically merge faces from different moments in time to create a perfect group shot, how do we establish proof in the future?
You can't trust what you see.
Exactly. When a photograph taken on a Pixel 10 Pro XL is used to settle an insurance claim or resolve a dispute or document an event 10 years from now, how do we authenticate what actually happened in the physical world versus what the AI decided would look best?
The baseline for visual evidence is just fundamentally changing.
It really is. It is a whole new paradigm for how we record our lives. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.